everybody. I'm going to show you today how to do show hair. How exciting. Now for the show, the girls are going to need to have their hair braided in 2 plaits coming out to the side, and then we're going to fold them over the top of the head so they lay here. Now we want them on the crown of the head, so about here, okay? So I'm going to show you how to do that so they don't end up too far forwards like a hairband, and they don't end up too far back like a basket. So we're going to aim for the crown of the head. Here's my lovely model today. Okay, let's get started. So for this, you're going to need a hairbrush, a comb, a couple of elastics, some hairpins of different styles. So here I have got 2 styles. I've got the closed ones and I've got the open ones. You see that? And then also you're going to need lots of hairspray, and if your little one has got wispy hair, this is going to be your best friend. Okay, so we're going to start by just brushing the hair to make sure all the knots are out first of all. Then with a comb we're going to make a parting from the centre at the front all the way to the centre at the back. The easiest way to do this is to stand with your child looking straight ahead and look down so you can see their nose, and you're going to draw your line up from there. That's going to be your start. I'm going to use the tail end of my comb for this, and then you're going to use it flat against the head, not like this because it hurts. So we're going to do it flat on the head from here, and we're going to run it all the way to the base of the neck. Now, so I know where I'm heading, I put my finger down here at the back, and on your child you'll probably be able to feel like a little indentation, like right at the base of where their hair stops, okay, just at the top of their neck. If you leave your finger there, that's where you're aiming for, okay? So we start here using the comb nice and flat. I've got my finger in place so I know where I'm aiming for. I go all the way down, one movement. Now before I pull it out, I always let my finger meet the comb, and then I pull them both right to the end, okay? And then that lets you separate it nice and easy. Now this piece of hair, I'm just going to move to the side for a minute. We'll deal with that piece in a moment. Secure that off, and we're going to work on this side. So I'm just going to turn our head that way for you just so you can see what I'm doing. So on this side of the head, just brush her hair through, make sure it's got no knots in there. We're going to do a plait, a braid, okay? Now where we're aiming for is about here, just above her ear, all right? So I'm going to brush it into a ponytail so that the ponytail is about there. That will allow me to grip it in the right place. We're not going to put a band in it here because we don't want to be able to see that at the end. So I'm just going to hold it in place there. Now, once you've brushed it all through, it's really important to make sure that there's no knots in this bit, because that'll make it much easier for you afterwards. So I'm holding it just above the ear, just as I said, and this is where we're going to braid it, okay? So just a normal braid. If you're not sure how to do that, there's plenty of videos, tutorials out there to show you, but it's nothing difficult. We're just going to split the hair into 3 sections, still kind of trying to keep it to that same place just above the ear, and then we're going to take one over to the other, one into the middle, sorry, starting at the face side, and then the other side into the middle. Now it's really important to keep pulling down on this. If we do it up like this, when we then try and fold it over the head, we'll have lots of bumps here. So you want to pull it downwards each time, okay? Keep the strands nice and tight as you do it. If I move you around this way, you'll be able to see what I'm doing down here. There we go. So we're going to keep it nice and tight as we go. Every time you put one into the middle, just give it a little tug downwards, okay? And we're going to go all the way to the end of the hair. So this isn't a French braid or a Dutch braid, it's just an ordinary braid or plait. Okay, as far down to the end as you can. Now, this is my tip. When we get to the bottom, or as close to the bottom as you can without losing layers, you're going to take one of your elastics, and these are good, especially if they're in the same colour as your child's hair, or they're clear. I try and avoid the shiny ones just because sometimes you can see those, they catch the light on the stage. So we're going to wrap it round a few times, and then once we get in towards the last twist, this time I'm not going to pull the hair all the way through the elastic. I'm going to make a little loop. So I've just pulled it halfway through. I haven't pulled it all the way through. And the end of the hair is now folded back on itself. Okay, so instead of pulling it all the way through, I've just left it tucked in. And that creates this little tuft that is going to sit on the top of the hair, on the top of the braid, sort of heading back on itself. That, you see that? It's going to be really useful for us. Okay, so we've done one side, now we're going to go ahead and do the other side. So, now we have two. Let's pop you in the middle now so you can see this bit. So we have two here. Tilt my head forward for you. Now, we're aiming for the crown, which is about here, okay? I'll show you the difference. So if we end up with them too far to the front of the head, it's pretty, but it ends up a bit bulky towards on top of the face, okay? If it's too far back, we end up with this basket-like look. I'll show you here. And it's not quite what we want either. We want them here, okay? On the top. Slightly towards the back. So that from the front, you can see that there is the braid over the top, but it's not too bulky, okay? So to do that, we're going to pin one and then the other. These ends, because we put the elastics on them to make a loop, we're going to be able to tuck them under each other nice and neatly, so we won't end up with any flicky bits at the end, okay? So they will tuck under each other to create that look, all right? So let's start with one. So we'll fold that under, make sure that little tuft that's pointing back up the plait is flat against the head to hide it. So this is your first one. Now, I always like to start with a flat one if I'm pinning something direct to the head here, and then I use the bigger ones to shape it afterwards. So split your pin. The flicky bit, this bit here, should go against the head. Okay, so the flat bit should be on the top, and we want to hide these as much as we can. So I'm going to put one in here, so just either side of this elastic, okay, just to hold it in place on the head where I want it. Make sure the crown is where I want it to go, and then just get one in there. This is not going to hold everything, this is just going to hold it in place for me so I don't lose where I want it to be, okay? So let's repeat that on the other side. Make sure this one's in the right place. Now, depending where you put your first one, you might choose to put the second one in front, or you might choose to put it behind. It depends where your first one has ended up. I'm going to put mine behind, so I'll just grab another clip. I'll do the same. I'm going to poke the end under the braid on this side, just to hide it a little bit. Okay, so it's held, but it's loose. Okay, now we need to do some pinning. To do this bit, we want to try and remove a bit of this bulk. See, if I push this, it will push it back onto the head. So I want to hide this elastic, tuck it under, and then this bit I'm going to pin down to the head, and this bit pin down to the head. Okay, so I'm going to use these ones this time. For this bit, I want it to end up this way in the head. So to start with, I'm going to go the opposite way. Then once it's in, I'm going to twist it and then push it back. Okay, then we don't end up with lots of unsightly pins that we don't want to see. Okay, so I'll show you that again. I'll do another one down here for you to see. So I'm going to push it away, then I'm going to twist and push. Okay, and then we can hold it in place and we don't see them. I'll do another one under here. I can't really see it on the back under here, but I'm going to put one here anyway, and I'm going to use this top bit of braid and I'm going to pull it down to hide that bit underneath. Okay, that's that. Now, I'm not too worried about this bit in the middle at the minute. I'm just going to focus on the side and then we'll secure the top. So let's turn her this way. So at the minute, you can see they look a bit separate. Can you see that? We want this bit under this bit. So to do that, we tuck the end under, and then, like I said before, this top braid, we're going to use these two bits from here to put it over the top, and we're going to pin it down, okay, to hide them. I have a couple of pins. So again, I want it to end up inside. You always want it sort of poking back towards where the hairbands are. But to start with, I'm going to go away, twist, and then push back in, staying nice and with nice contact to the scalp. There we go. That's that one. And then we can deal with the top. So we can adjust it to where it needs to go, and then just take a couple of pins. It won't take many. And we're going to put a couple in the middle to hold these two together. Okay. You can use whichever pins you like for this bit. I quite like these ones still because I'll put it in and then I'll kind of wiggle it a bit like I'm sewing, and I'll get a bit of that one, a bit of that one, a bit of that one as I go along. Okay. And then wiggle it in. And I'll do one from the other way as well. So I get a bit of that one and I'm going to sew it together. In, out, in, out. Now this is attached the plaits together. Now I need to attach the plaits to the head. So I'm going to go back to my flat ones for this one because they've got a bit more grip. Now I don't want to end up seeing these, so I'm going to pin it from the underside. So get a piece from as low down as you can near the head, put it through that piece of hair, so towards the face, then spin it and then push it back. Okay, do that again, this side. So I want to pin this piece of hair to the head. So I'm going to open my pin, and I put it in this bit here, and I push it away, twist it round, and then push it in. Okay, that way you hide them all. So that's pretty secure now. That's not really going anywhere, but you can add as many as you need. If you need to, you can then use your spray to spray on these bits if they are sticking up. We're not too bad on this one. She's looking all right. She's looking quite nice. But you can always spray on here, and then you can use a comb to smooth it over, like so, and on the back. If you've got any wispy bits that you need to stick in, that you any bumps, when you pin them, just pin them as close to your braid as you can and try and get that pin underneath so you don't see it. Okay, and then loads of hairspray. Okay, these plaits have got to stay in all day. We don't want to have to be redoing them between dances, so we want to get as much in as you can. And there you have your lovely crown braid. Isn't it pretty? So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Hopefully it's been useful. I'll be around at the studio if you when I'm dropping my daughter off. So if I catch any of you, feel free to come and have a chat with me about it if that helps. And if there's any other videos I can do to help you with any of that, including how to do a braid in itself, then just let Tina know, and then I'm happy to do that as well. But Good luck!